Imagine a life lived entirely off the grid, not by choice, but by necessity. A life where every sunrise brings a new challenge, and every sunset marks another day of profound self-reliance. This is the story of the Lykov family, a testament to human endurance against the most formidable odds. Their saga began not in a quest for adventure, but in a desperate flight from persecution. In 1936, Karp Lykov, a devout old believer, led his family deep into the Siberian taiga. They sought refuge from Soviet religious oppression, choosing the harsh embrace of the wilderness over the perceived dangers of civilization. For 42 years, they remained hidden, completely cut off from the outside world. Their existence was a whisper in the vast, silent expanse of the Siberian forest. It is a story that resonates deeply with anyone who understands the true meaning of survival. The decision to flee was not made lightly. It was a profound act of faith and defiance. Karp, his wife Akulina, and their two young children, Savin and Natalia, embarked on an unimaginable journey into the unknown. They carried only what they could physically bear, leaving behind everything familiar. Their destination was not a place on any map, but a sanctuary of their own making. They walked for weeks, perhaps months, deeper and deeper into the unforgiving wilderness. Their initial years were a brutal struggle for existence. They faced starvation, extreme cold, and the constant threat of wild animals. Yet their resolve never wavered. Their first crude shelters were barely more than dugouts, offering minimal protection. But with each passing season, their knowledge of the taiga grew. They learned to read the land, to understand its rhythms and its secrets. They established a small, self-sufficient homestead, miles from any human trace. Their ingenuity was boundless, transforming raw materials into tools, clothing, and shelter. Every item they possessed was either found, fashioned, or grown. Farming became their lifeline. They cultivated a small plot of land, growing potatoes, rye, and hemp. These crops were the foundation of their diet, supplemented by what they could gather and hunt. Trapping provided essential protein and furs for warmth. They devised ingenious traps from wood and sinew, demonstrating a deep understanding of animal behavior. Every part of an animal was utilized, nothing was wasted. Their clothing was made from hemp they grew and processed themselves. They spun fibers into thread, then wove fabric on a homemade loom. This was not merely clothing. It was a shield against the brutal Siberian winters. Tools were crafted from whatever they could find or adapt. Stone, wood, and eventually, scavenged metal became their hammers, axes, and knives. Their resourcefulness was a masterclass in primitive technology. Life in isolation forged an unbreakable bond within the family. They were each other's entire world, their only companions. Their language, their customs, and their understanding of reality were uniquely their own. They lived by the sun and the seasons, their days dictated by the demands of survival. There was no concept of a weekend or a holiday, only the continuous cycle of work and rest. Their faith provided spiritual sustenance and a moral compass. The children born in the taiga, Dmitry and Agafya, knew no other life. They grew up without ever seeing another human being outside their family. Their world was the forest, their teachers their parents, and the harsh realities of nature. Their diet was often monotonous, sometimes dangerously scarce. During lean years, they resorted to eating tree bark and shoe leather to survive. These were periods of extreme hardship, testing their limits of endurance. Despite the privations, they maintained a profound sense of dignity and purpose. They were not merely surviving, they were living according to their deeply held beliefs. Their existence was a quiet act of defiance against the modern world. Their knowledge of the taiga was encyclopedic. They knew every plant, every animal, every nuance of the weather. This intimate connection to their environment was key to their longevity. In 1978, after more than 4 decades of complete isolation, the Lykov family was discovered. A team of Soviet geologists, on an aerial survey, spotted signs of human habitation in an area thought to be uninhabited. It was a moment that would change their lives forever. The initial encounter was cautious, filled with mutual apprehension. The Lykovs, seeing strangers for the first time, were understandably wary. The geologists, in turn, were astonished by what they found. It was a meeting of two vastly different worlds, separated by time and experience. The Lykovs had no concept of modern technology, of cities, or of the political landscape that had driven them into hiding. Slowly, trust began to build. The geologists shared gifts of salt, sugar, and flour, items the Lykovs had not seen in decades. These simple provisions were received with immense gratitude and wonder. The family's story captivated the world. Their resilience, their faith, and their extraordinary self-sufficiency became a source of fascination. They offered a rare glimpse into a life untouched by modernity. Tragically, the introduction to the outside world brought unforeseen challenges. Exposure to common illnesses, against which they had no immunity, proved fatal for some family members. Savin, Natalia, and Dmitry succumbed to illness within a few years of the discovery. Their bodies, accustomed only to the taiga's pathogens, could not fight off new diseases. It was a heartbreaking consequence of their re-entry into society. Only Karp and his youngest daughter, Agafia, remained. Karp passed away in 1988, leaving Agafia as the sole survivor of the original family. She chose to remain in the taiga, continuing the life her family had built. Agafia Lykova lives to this day in the same remote homestead, a living embodiment of her family's legacy. She occasionally receives visitors and supplies, but largely maintains her ancestral way of life. The Lykov family story offers invaluable lessons for survivalists and anyone seeking a deeper connection to the land. Their journey highlights the power of human adaptability and the strength of the human spirit. They demonstrated that true self-sufficiency is not just about skills, but about an unwavering mindset. It is about resourcefulness, resilience, and an intimate understanding of one's environment. Their story reminds us that even in the most extreme circumstances, life can not only endure but thrive. It is a powerful testament to the human capacity for survival, faith, and profound independence. The Lykovs built a world from nothing, sustained by their hands, their faith, and their unbreakable will. Their remote homestead stands as a monument to a life lived on their own terms, a beacon of enduring human spirit.